What's up, everybody? I'm Justin Maytack. I'm here with my sister, Melissa Mattack,
Hey, everybody.
and we are Room 51, where we talk all things board gaming. Today, we're joined by a very special guest, Brian MacDonald from Our Brain on Games.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you guys.
It's nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Well,
Brian
thanks for having me
actually,
on.
yeah, Brian and I, we actually messaged on Facebook and stuff. So he politely responded to my message. So here we are.
Awesome. Yeah, and today we're doing a Roll for Thought. It's a segment where we talk about anything and everything worth discussing in the board gaming universe. And today we're talking about why we might take it personally when somebody doesn't like a game that we love, right?
Yeah.
So, Brian, since you're the guest, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Why not? Well, this is something that maybe not related to board games, but it's certainly something that I think about or deal with a lot because as in my day job, I'm a psychologist. So relationships and embarrassment and social anxiety and all of those kinds of things are things that I think about and deal with all the time. And I love board games. I really love board games, as you can see behind me.
Yeah.
Board games are my thing, and I'm lucky enough to have a wide enough connection and to know the people who come over to play well enough that usually I can find something that we all agree on. But every once in a while, there's something I'm passionate about, and I don't get the same reaction that I hope for. Right? It's like, as if you're the host, if you've chosen the game, you're taking a lot of responsibility for the fun of the other people who are coming over to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also in the psychology field. I'm a mental health counselor, and same thing. It's kind of like when you're talking about relationships, you sort of have like a relationship with the board game, and it's kind of like if I had a significant other and somebody's like, "Yeah, I don't really like your significant other," it's like, "What do you mean?" So if somebody is like, "Yeah, I don't like the game that you absolutely adore," I'm like, I bought that thing and it's great. What do you mean? So yeah, I kind of take it personally. It's kind of like it's part of who I am and my interests. So it's like
Yeah.
me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have movies that I feel that way. I think maybe more a wider range of people would say, yeah, it's movies or it's music. My favorite band. Like, how can somebody not appreciate or like this great movie that I love, or this, if somebody didn't like The Princess Bride, I would say there's something the matter with that person. It's not me. How could I be wrong?
Definitely not.
One of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
So I think, like, when it comes to the relationship stuff, like in terms of research about this stuff, it's generally what I found, it's all been about musical tastes. And when people are connecting based on their musical taste, they're sensing some similarity there, that there's something, you can relate to that person because you have something in common. It's sort of a way, like, the music becomes, and I think for us as in the board game hobby, it becomes part of your identity. And
Yes.
when you can see eye to eye with someone on that and connect on that level, it works really well. Now, if you've got a relationship with someone, if you're friendly with them, and that I won't go into the whole theory about how relationships work and how they develop, but one of those early stages of relationship development is the importance of sameness. That's how you feel connected to that person when you're not together. When you first get into a relationship and you're in that honeymoon period, you've got to be in the same room together all the time. But
So you're together all the time during the honeymoon? And then
yeah, during that
time.
early honeymoon period, you're together all the time, but eventually you can still feel connected when you're not physically in one another's presence because of all the things you have in common.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, that's kind of like kind of just busted my mind there.
So that's one of those stages that people go through when when they're coming together in a relationship, and eventually there's loyalty, and eventually there's that feeling that the other person is important to you and you're important to them, and that they really know you and understand you from the inside and out. I mean, those are the deeper connections. But I mean, most of the people we know at work or that we meet at the dog park are people that we relate to because we share something in common. And it's and when when the sameness, if there's a difference that comes up in a relationship that's based on all your similarities, it's super threatening.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I was even thinking, because we're talking a lot about like just getting to know each other, so then trying to find connections and similarities to feel connected with one another. There's times though, even when you've been best friends with this person forever, or a long time relationship, whatever, and then they're like, yeah, I really don't like that game that you like, and you're just kind of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And that's a rejection, right?
Yeah.
That's a rejection of of something that's important to you. And it feels like, especially if you're a sensitive person or emotional person, it feels like they're rejecting you, not just this one
Yes.
thing that you
Yeah.
like, right? It's putting you into separation. And I would say that our entire, maybe not our entire alarm system that we've evolved over time, but a large portion of our alarm system is about keeping those connections. And so your alarm bells go off when something threatens those relationships. And if you perceive rejection, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And this other person, even if you're well connected with them, they've rejected a part of you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what happens when you feel that rejection? Well, you might feel embarrassed, like because there's some difference, or maybe you've made a bad choice in the game that you picked, or you might feel sort of upset with yourself because how many times do we read reviews of games that we've already bought, right? Just to see if other people agree with us.
I know, like validation.
Yeah.
Validation is so important. So when you're in a situation like that, when you're getting those rejecting message, that's your alarm bells are going to go off. That's going to create some anxiety for you. It might create frustration too, because if something's not working out, that's where, I mean, that's what frustration is, the feeling that we get when something's not working, right? So
Okay.
I'm frozen again, and you froze for a second, but we're back.
Oh, okay,
we're good.
We should tell the audience that there's a tornado.
There's a tornado,
outside.
please.
It's hailing. My internet connection is shaky at the best of times, so I apologize.
We did gather most of what you said, at least.
Yes.
I think we only skipped over maybe a couple of words. I think we got it though.
Editing is magic. So
yeah, editing's gonna be great.
Yeah.
One of the things you're saying with like that feeling of embarrassment, it kind of feels to me when I'm showing somebody a game and I love the game. I think it's a hoot. It doesn't matter. It's a hoot. And then everybody's having a miserable time. It kind of feels like when I saw a video, I was laughing hysterically at it. I get a group of people to watch it and just nobody cares about it. They're just completely like, meh. It's not funny at all. It's just like, man, start getting sweaty. It's like, all right, so they all hate me.
Yeah.
Sorry for wasting all of your time. Jeez.
Yeah, it could feel embarrassing.
Like that. Yeah, that's like the closest I feel. The other thing though is when, and this happens to you a lot, Melissa, and I think it frustrates you a ton when it happens, is when you really think somebody is going to like a game. And then they wind up just being like, nah, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Why did you think I would like that, Ashley? Because you love to make calls. Not saying you're usually good about it too. Like I almost never call that somebody else will like this game, but you make those calls. You're like, no, this person don't like this game, and I think you get a little like not too happy about it when they don't like.
I get a little tilted. I'm like, what do you mean? I know you. That's true. I have no idea where that comes from. I always feel like it's like you're lying.
Yeah, you're lying to yourself.
It's not that you made the mistake, it's their mistake.
Exactly. Yeah. It can't possibly be me. That's the motto of this whole episode right now.
Yeah.
It's not me, it's you. Brian, are you still there? I'm not sure if you're frozen.
Yeah, I'm still
there we go.
Okay.
You froze for a second on my end this time.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is true too. I guess even that, because like in speaking in terms of validation, for a couple of friends, right? One, like, I thought I knew you really well, and then you're saying, no, you don't know me at all. This is not what I want. And I'm like, but what do you mean? I thought I knew you so well. I don't understand. Or if I imagine it in my head, like, this game is going to go over perfectly well. Example being Robinson Crusoe. I thought for sure Justin would love this game. He loves survival games. He loves worker placement stuff, all that kind of things. And he loves hard co-ops, which that is a notoriously difficult co-op. And then the first time we played it, he's like, "Yeah, it was all right." I'm like, "What do you mean it was all right? Like, you're supposed to love it." So I almost feel like the sense of it didn't go the way I imagined it in my head. It's not a fun feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the way that you predicted the situation would be is not the way it turned out, and that's kind of a scary feeling or unpleasant feeling too, right? I get stressed if anything comes up that's unexpected. You expect somebody to like a game, you know, and then they don't. What happens, right? And we're so all or nothing about our games.
Yeah,
If somebody doesn't absolutely love it, it's like, well, then they must hate it, right? Or they must hate me if they don't even know me. How can this person know me if they don't, you know, what can they like about me if they don't like, I don't know, what have I been playing lately? Everdell. What? There's squirrels in this game. How can you not? You know, but that's, yeah, because we're passionate about these things, we do tend to be a little bit more all or nothing, and it's hard for us to temper our reactions or to have sort of, you know, really what you're talking about is having mixed feelings about it. Or, you know, I'm disappointed that you didn't like this game, but, you know, I still like you. And, you know, maybe it's a chance for us to figure out, to learn something new about each other, right? Rather than saying, well, I totally don't know this person and how can I relate to them? Well, you just learn something new about them. You know, they like survival games, but something about Robinson Crusoe just drove them around the bend.
Yeah.
No, I'm so convinced he's wrong.
I also wonder with what you're saying, if it's even like our brain is kind of just going to that extreme where, I mean, truthfully, even if I didn't like the game that I played with the group, but Melissa was expecting me to like it, even if I didn't like the game, I might have still had a fun experience. You know, I was playing with friends, doesn't matter. I didn't like the game all that much, but it was still a fun time for me. And I don't think, like, at least for me, I don't think I calculated that way. It's like, oh, they didn't like the game, so you just hated the last 2 hours. Is that what you're telling me? You just hated the last 2 hours that I just presented you. Okay.
Yeah, I tortured you.
Yeah. Like, it's like I jumped to that extreme.
Yeah, it's so all or nothing, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, there might be some things that you like about a particular game. It might be the artwork on the cards, or it might be just like you said, hanging out with friends, or the food that you ate before you played.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
or,
true.
You know, Skip Bo is a game that some of my younger, you know, nieces and nephews like to play, and it just drives me crazy because it feels like I'm watching someone play solitaire. And I'm the worst at drawing cards. So people will take a 5-minute turn and I'll just have to draw one and not be able to do anything. And then I get to watch the next person take their long turn. I hate that game. So I have to find ways to entertain myself and just realize that, well, you know, I'm with my nieces and they're having a good time.
Yeah.
So that's sort of that has to be part of it. I have to find a way to have two feelings about it at the same time.
That is true. I think that's true, where most of it should really come from the experience. It doesn't matter what you like about the game itself or anything. It usually comes down to the people you're playing with.
Yeah.
Although the person we play with a lot, Sabrina, who's also on Room 51, I would say that, yes, you definitely tortured her for those past 2 hours. She didn't like the game, that's it.
She will let you know that not only did you give me a horrible experience, but she fully blames you for the horrible experience.
Beyond frustration into anger then.
Yeah. But I will say that I think what you just described with playing with your nieces is kind of a good thing for board gamers to take, that the experience is sometimes on you. You know, this game, games are what you make of them a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you to make the most out of it. And even if it's not a particular game that you love, when you sit down to play it, you can still have more fun than just sitting there and being like, well, this sucks, and just kind of doing whatever it is, just like, this is the worst, and just moping about for 2 hours. You can make more of it than that.
Well, and the people who have been in the hobby for, the longest amount of time are the ones who are sort of the gatekeepers, right? For the new people who have maybe never played before. And, I'm a parent, so I guess I'm used to doing things that maybe aren't my favorite things to do, but it's because I'm doing them with someone I like, and then maybe I start to like that thing a little bit more because the other person is having so much fun. It's harder when you're with a group of people the same age, to be able to do that maybe, but
I know.
Parents have to force themselves into that mindset, I think, maybe more than friends do. But we are I think sometimes hobbyists can be a little bit cliquey about who they let in and what games they'll accept and the way that you play. And if you're the dungeon master in a game of Dungeons and Dragons, Mike, if you kill all your first level characters in the first game, nobody's going to want to come back to your house again.
No.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? You have to be sensitive to their play experience too. And so maybe you put aside your favorite game for a little while, or maybe it's not until they get used to it, or, maybe there's something about it that they have to figure out, or you just watch the how to play video and you play something else and just let it sink in and plant those seeds. Right? I've got Coimbra set up on my table right now. I'm looking at the pieces, which has like a 13 stage setup for the first turn.
Okay.
And Crokinole is right beside it. And what do you think we wound up playing all weekend? It was because there's no, there's such a low bar for entry for that one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be in a thinky mood to play Crokinole, but it's always fun. I like dexterity games. I always find it fun.
Yeah, Crocodile is one that we haven't tried, but I do like dexterity games.
Yeah.
I probably like them a little bit more than you do, Justin.
I think it depends on the dexterity
game. Yeah.
I think you're sticking hard to flick them up.
You
have that really. Yeah, that's one that she's very disappointed in my liking of. I think it's a very
it's not even that. Like, I don't think anybody but me likes the game in our group. Unfortunate.
That's not true. We have 2 people that do.
Yeah.
You see?
Wait, who? Oh, Matt. Okay, you're right.
Oh, okay, so now we have 3 because we have 2 different people.
Okay, then forget it. I don't know what we're talking about.
You got to play Castles and Catacombs, I think. If Flick 'em Up is only a hit with some of them.
The Castles and Catacombs?
Yeah, that one seems really cool. We haven't played it, but it looks cool.
I haven't heard of that one. I want to check that out. Anything to get rid of Flick 'em Up. Let's
Stop.
Hey, Dungeon Fighter. The second edition of Dungeon Fighter is coming. I mean, if you like flicking games, maybe the bouncing those dice.
Okay. Here we go.
Cool.
Yeah.
See,
now
Seb,
I didn't actually know that. I have to check that out.
Yeah, coming to Kickstarter very soon, I think early in the fall. But that's one of the things I think I learned that from when I was doing my training. I won't tell you how many years ago, but when I was doing training in career counseling, of all things. Now imagine we're talking about board games and it reminds me of career counseling. But in career counseling, people will fill out all of those questionnaires and then they'll sit down in front of you and say, "What it says that I want to be a veterinarian. I don't want to be a veterinarian." But then you spend the time thinking, okay, well, why did that questionnaire say that? What was it that you like, that veterinarians like, that appeals to you in a job? Right. And then we could figure out what would really work. Well, what is it that this person might like about a particular game? And if you like flicking games, there's a dozen of them. You just have to maybe find the right theme or find the right, the only thing for me about Flick 'em Up is that setting up the scenarios always I always found it took too long, or it was
it's a little long.
It was too fiddly. So
too much downtime.
I'm excited about that Catacombs where you roll out a mat and you build the wall around it, and then you just start flicking elves and arrows around.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited for that.
Same.
All right, Brian, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Where can people find you?
Well, the YouTube channel is called Brains on Games, where I do not really reviews, but overviews of games. Because I'm a school psychologist, the overviews are focused on the kinds of learning skills that you practice by playing different kinds of board games. So maybe that's why I like dexterity games so much, because they're good for those fine motor skills. So Brains on Games is the YouTube channel, and the Facebook page and the Instagram feed, brainsongames.ca, because I'm in Canada, is the website.
Yeah, definitely check that out. I've seen a couple of your videos and they are very cool. Mostly also because I'm into psychology and everything, so I'm like, that's awesome.
I want to quickly apologize. In the intro, I accidentally said our brains on games. I did not drop the hour. Don't say. Don't put that. That was an accident.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Justin.
it's just Brains on Games.
Just brains on games.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Room 51. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at This Is Room 51. You could also check out our live Twitch channel called Room 51 Live. We will catch you next time. Oh, snap. And I'm actually just going to have Catherine edit this for us. About to record.
Should I do this on the entries?
What? Stop. Stop. You look freaking like possessed. I don't like it. I don't like it.